Hello, guys. Chelsea FanCast. I'm Jonathan Kydd. You're watching, you've been listening to the Chelsea FanCast. What has Mitchell got to say? Tony Glover. Right, enjoyed popping in. I've got to warm up the valves to do the potting shed. Dust down the microphones, point the aerial to the sky, record a potting shed. Cheers, everyone. Enjoy the chat, and well done to FanCast crew. Very enjoyable. Watch, listen. Thank you, Tony. Very nice.
Keep pedalling, keep pedalling.
Keep pedalling, yeah. Because he's got one of those old sets, hasn't he? That's right. Yeah, yeah. Valves. This is the valves, as he said. Debs, I missed the last 15 minutes, first 15 minutes of the game, and thanks for the photos, Debs. Really lovely of you. Stuck outside, one poor lad blinded by gas, funneled into single file. Absolutely, that's the setup there. Absolutely disgraceful. You spent all that money to go there, and money for the tickets. It's appalling behaviour. She's emailed the club and the SFF. Amanda Jacks wants info as well. Yarin has appeared, and Yarin's been at work. Yarin Levi. Sophie not there today. No! Look, can you see? Where is she? Look, she's not here. No Chidge or Sophie? No, unfortunately, no. We're doing our best. I knew about Chidge. I thought Sophie would be back today. No, she's in Shoreditch working. She's going to try and be here next week. But she'll probably, the trouble is she's probably asleep, knowing her after the work. Anyway, it's the weight. No, I won't shut up. That was wrong. Wasn't it wrong? Sorry about that. Anyway, back to the script, yes. Anyway, all the way from the USA, lawyer Jake Cohen, expert on financial fair play. So, Jake, all the way from Boston. I wish I'd love to go to Boston. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah,
Boston?
Clive spent years and years there.
Well, I remember you going to Boston. No, I remember you going there. Yeah. Because there was a period when we went to away games and then you disappeared and you said, I'm going to Boston. I remember that. Yeah. So, straight in, what actually is FFP and how does it work? Tell everybody out there.
Yeah, in a nutshell, basically what it boils down to is that a club can't spend more than it earns. It originates from the club licensing system, which is a series of regulations and procedures that UEFA implemented back in 2004, and it covers everything. Basically, it covers everything from clean sanitation facilities all the way to ensuring a competent IT staff. And every single club, in order to remain eligible for domestic and UEFA competition.
Competent IT, you have to do that as part of it.
You do,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, there's a ton of regulations that clubs have to adhere to if they want to remain eligible for domestic and UEFA competitions. And UEFA is sort of an offshoot on that. It was announced in 2009. It was implemented in 2011. And as we just saw, I think in last April or May, the first sanctions came down to. But really what it all boils down to is that you can't spend more than you earn. And what UEFA is trying to do there is, ensure that the financial health of European football is safeguarded. And they have had some success. Losses are down. Of course, revenues are up, so that helps as well. And they also wanted to ensure competitive balance. UEFA has since backed off that statement and say, no, it's not about competitive balance, because in reality, what financial fair play does, it doesn't ensure competitive balance. What it actually does is ensures the status quo and prevents, would-be wealthy owners from injecting, millions, hundreds of millions of pounds into a football club like we saw with Chelsea, PSG, Manchester City. And so what it does, it just prevents new clubs from entering, this elite group of, well-established European clubs, and it just ensures that these same clubs are going to be competing year in and year out for trophies, both domestically and abroad. And fortunately, Chelsea is part of that elite group.
And how is Chelsea doing at the moment with FFP?
Really, really well. For Chelsea, it's not really about compliance anymore. It's about maximizing resources. And what that means is Chelsea has massive resources, probably, top 5 or 6 in the world. And so what Chelsea has done rather ingeniously is they've turned their youth development program into a veritable loan army where they can basically get paid to watch their young stars develop on loan abroad.
Aren't there some people who are attempting to unravel that, and they don't approve of that, even though it's obviously complying, and they think it's somehow gaining an advantage?
It absolutely is gaining an advantage, but it's within the current rules. And if there are new loan regulations implemented, then I think Chelsea will be able to pivot very well. But Chelsea is working within the regulations, and they've done very, very, very well.
I see that Thorgan Hazard has just been sold for $8 million.
Has he?
Yeah.
Was it 8? They didn't announce it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Was it 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's news to me. I haven't been on Twitter or anything, but yeah, I mean, in that case, I think they bought him. I think it was a throw-in, basically. They just bought him over because his brother was there, and I mean, I don't know what he's cost, but it hasn't been anywhere near $8 million.
No.
So it's a tremendous return on your investment.
Yeah, as was ultimately Schürrle, as has been all these players, as was
Absolutely.
Salah.
Even Lukaku we made money on.
Oh,
Yeah.
David
indeed.
Luiz,
Brilliant.
we sort of did, but then Matic buying him back cancelled that
So
one.
how are we comparing with other clubs? I don't quite understand. So City got they weren't fined, were they? They had players deducted from the European pool, didn't they?
Yeah. City has had some sanctions. I don't think it ever came out that their sponsorship deals, I think that's what's been wildly reported. They've been lumped in with PSG for sort of artificially boosting their commercial revenue. But in Manchester City's case, I don't think it was ever proven that the Etihad deal, which is closely looked at, I don't think that was considered, like a shady deal by UEFA. I think they just spent too much money. But now with Manchester City's commercial revenues exploding, with the new Premier League broadcasting deal, with all these commercial partnerships Manchester City has, they basically farmed out their brand to New York, to Australia. I think like in France now as well. I think Manchester City is really going to be a force to be reckoned with in the future. I think it'll be Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United from here on out.
Wow, how interesting is that? So how does Real Madrid get away with it? I never, their finances, is that from the government seem to just give them money, don't they?
Yeah, there is a question about state aid. However, Manchester City, they're just, a commercial power. They earn lots and lots of commercial revenues. I think Manchester United is going to overtake them as the top earner, but for the past 10 years, Real Madrid has been the top earning football club on the planet. Their broadcasting deal is similarly gigantic, as is Barcelona's. However, the Spanish League's broadcasting deal is now going to be collectively negotiated, kind of like how the Premier League did, how the Premier League's broadcasting deal is negotiated, where sort of everybody gets rich. In Spain, it's really only Real Madrid and Barcelona getting rich off the TV money. So now what La Liga is going to do is they're going to negotiate collectively. And I asked Esteve Calzada, who's the former chief marketing officer in Barcelona, I asked him on Twitter, what do you think is going to happen with Real Madrid and Barcelona? And he's of the mind that it's going to benefit everybody. Of course, it's going to benefit the smaller clubs more, but he thinks that Barcelona and Real Madrid are still going to see gigantic broadcasting revenues. So Real Madrid is in a very, very good situation.
What wasn't there the aim? Is there still the likelihood that teams would ultimately want to negotiate their own broadcasting deals? And despite the huge amounts of money that they're getting from Sky and BT, because they would be seen to then make even more money. Is this a likelihood? Do you think?
No, I don't think that will happen at all. And actually, I think it strengthens the Premier League. Like the reason why one of the reasons why the Premier League is so strong is because they're a unified group. They bargain collectively, right. And Sky is going to pay £10 million for Manchester United, Chelsea, but they're also going to pay £10 million for Burnley, Stoke.
Yes.
So I mean. It just raises the level of talent. Like, the more money you make, the better players you can buy. And, having, this massive Premier League broadcasting deal, far more than any other domestic league on the planet, is just going to raise the talent level of the Premier League. I think most superstars, unless they're going to play for Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Manchester, Real Madrid, they want to play in the Premier League. And I think that the new broadcasting deal.
Is that because they're going to make so much more money than playing?
Right. Yeah. Of course.
But even though at Bayern you can still make the same amount of money.
For sure.
But I presume a lesser player is still going to make much more playing in the Premier League than he would anywhere else
Absolutely.
in the rest of Europe. Yeah.
Can I ask Jake a question?
Yeah, of course. Please get in there.
I just wondered if homegrown players quotas is part of the same UEFA requirement as the FFP.
How is...
Because Chelsea, you're saying Chelsea are okay as regards FFP.
Right.
But what about quotas of homegrown players? We seem to be a bit light on, certainly English-born. I know we got several that qualified through the so many years with the club prior to the age of 21.
Right, yeah. I mean, I don't know that that's has to do with financial fair play, but I do know that with regards to, I think, the UEFA A squad, you're required to have X amount of homegrown players, and if you don't have the requisite homegrown players, you just lose a spot, which I think,
So that's not connected with FFP at all then?
Okay, it's not.
I presume it must be just connected with your ability to qualify for a competition.
I mean,
With the European Union freedom of movement and services, it means that you can bring in kids at the age of 14 or whatever. And if you look at the youth team now, there are a lot of people coming in at a young age, signed up from wherever, and that means they're homegrown players.
Isn't that what Fabregas said with Arsenal? Barcelona couldn't sign him on a contract because of his age, and Arsenal could say. He was treated as a homegrown player.
He joined Arsenal at 17. He was there till
because
he did his 3 years prior to 21. So he was a homegrown player.
I think that's what it is.
Barca weren't allowed to sign him when Arsenal were allowed to.
So in terms of our transfer policy at Chelsea, does that mean that we, if we bought somebody for an enormous fee, we would have to be working out how we would make the money back from that fee in a way that we never did before? We can't just then purchase somebody. We have to then work out that, well, if you sell 2 other players, that'll pay for that. Is this more the case than ever before?
No, I don't think it's
not the
strictly
case?
that Chelsea needs to sell in order to buy. I think Chelsea has plenty of wiggle room with regards to
It just seems to be the
play.
case at the moment. We've done some very good business,
Right.
and we've seemed to have balanced the books, which I felt was it necessary. I know the club is trying to not have any debt at all, isn't it? The club is trying to be just
self-sufficient.
that's exactly the word I was looking for. Yes, 2 words.
We're all becoming like Arsenal supporters with spreadsheets, though, aren't we? It's worrying. I don't want that.
Well, if you look, I think you mentioned this to me in your email. We have the chairman is an American lawyer.
Right.
The newest board member is a Russian financial expert, Marina Granovskaya, and the latest executive hire is the co-founder of a Wall Street private equity firm, Christian Perslow.
Right.
So I think they've all got their balance sheets out, actually. And if anything to go by, with Brentford or anything to go by in this Danish club, it's all going to be done via digital assessment of players' abilities on the pitch, where their energy peaks and where their
So is that like FIFA
contribution.
15?
Yeah, all these kids playing FIFA 15 will be football managers.
Yeah,
or
that's
something
exactly
soon.
that'll be happening soon. Well, no, but I think he's done. That's why Brentford have done so well, and this is why Brentford are quite happy to get rid of the manager, because they're going to get somebody in who's Warburton. They're going to get in. The chaps that the owner, Brentford owner, is everything. I'll say things and you just interpret. And the Brentford players.
Do you want to know their names?
No, he's a gambler, isn't he? That's what he does. He's made all his money out of betting and playing percentages, and it's just so that may be the way it goes as well. It'll everything we run from stats and.
City trader, gambler, same thing.
Definitely.
Burnham was a gambler. Warburton was a City trader. The manager is a City trader. The owner's a gambler, or he set up his own gambling.
Same business though.
Yeah,
Definitely. And just on the point of spreadsheet warriors, I think Chelsea is markedly different from Arsenal, in that Arsenal is run as a for-profit company. Chelsea is run as a for-trophies company, and so there's a huge difference.
I like that.
I like that
That's
immensely. I think that's really good.
A huge difference in how Arsenal does business and how Arsenal finance aficionados.
Because that makes sense, doesn't it? Because they hardly win any trophies.
It makes zero sense to root for a company to earn profit. It makes all the sense in the world to want your club to earn as much as it can, so it can spend as much as it can, because it's just it's a proven fact that the more you spend, the better chances you have of success.
And also the more for PR
fan,
exercise.
Exactly.
If you're going to win trophies, you're going to have the global audience is going to expand, and the money will come in further from this new audience you've discovered.
Absolutely. And as Chelsea fans, we want our club to have the best chances to succeed, and for better or for worse in this, hyper money-driven global landscape, earning money is more likely than not going to lead to success. So I think that's why there's been this increased push to sort of understand the financial parts of it.
So, but are City doing better in terms of global interest from other fans? Has that been their major?
I mean, their commercial revenue is higher than Chelsea's. I mean,
how have they managed to do that so quickly? Is that because of the initial injection of such a huge amount?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of their investments from the Middle East, and it could have to do with ownership, but I don't think UEFA has come down on them for that. But yeah, they have the satellite club in Australia. satellite club in New York in MLS. They just, I think, agreed to a deal with Kurt Zuma's old club in France. You know, Chelsea has the Vitesse thing, but that's more of a development thing as opposed to a commercial thing. Yes. But, you know, as Chelsea continues to globalize, you know, they take regular tours to the United States, regular tours to Asia. I think they just built like 9 or 10 soccer schools in Asia. And, you know, if you plant that flag now, you might not see you know, tons of fans just flock to Chelsea immediately, but in the long term, I think it's really going to benefit the club.
If will it have an effect on redeveloping Stamford Bridge?
No, you know, fortunately, infrastructure expenses are exempt from the FFP calculations, so Chelsea should be free.
Because I suppose yes, that's like it's with your tax, it's you're developing your club, so it's
right.
It's in fact it's of benefit to do that, isn't it? But it's not going to be involved in
I definitely don't think UEFA wants to stifle development, community programs.
And safety with stadiums as well.
Yeah, of course, definitely, it's a good point.
Where were we last week with the development? We were talking last week about developing the ground. Where did we end it? We ended with walkways, didn't we? On the
we ended it with we don't really know what the club are doing.
No, there's that
because they don't tell anyone.
No.
But apparently something's going to be told to us soon, we keep being told. At least at the Supporters Trust meeting we were told something's going to be told to us soon.
Do you know more, Darren, from your various contacts?
No, just that they are still looking at ways they can actually renovate Stamford Bridge. Yeah. There's nothing really that's come out recently. People that do know, I think, are keeping quite tight-lipped about it. I believe that something is coming out soon.
But a couple of years ago, didn't CPO have talks with Hammersmith and Fulham and various other bodies about the feasibility?
Used to be Conservative, and they were always in favour of it. Now they're Labour. I don't know if they've really nailed their colours to the mast as to what they want from it all, but certainly it can be developed around that area. Yeah. They can build walkways, they can do things they want to, and when the club says there's nothing they can do, they never really proved there was nothing they can do. They sent out some little document months after the EGM in October 2011, and they never really followed it up. And why was all this stuff coming out saying it can't be developed? Now they said, no, it can be developed.
A lot of what they produced looked very similar to those sketches that I did as well, which is strange.
Exactly, about the East Stand, cantilevering things, walkways.
Decks over the tracks, knock down the sports club.
If an idiot can see it, why couldn't they?
So Jake, how long are you in England now?
I'll be here until Friday afternoon. However, I was just talking to a friend of mine, a Liverpool fan, and he said he might have a line on a ticket for the game at Wembley. So, you know, maybe I'll try to extend that if I can get a ticket.
That'd be wonderful if you could do that. Wouldn't it?
Another weekend in London too.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Another weekend after the snow of Boston.
True story. True story.
Or is it a bit cold there at the moment?
It's deep in snow, very deep.
Yeah. Good stuff. So. We've got a minute to go.
Well, we'll just keep talking about feet for fair play then.
Yeah, anybody's coming here on Mixler, just see if anybody's suggesting anything very quickly.
This is why I don't mind if we're buying people cheap.
You have to go to Wembley, Jake. Debs says. You have to go.
Debs says that?
Yeah. Debs, you'll have to get him a ticket. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
That's right. I was just feeling dead air, that was all.
And you did well, actually.
Thank you.
You did well. We're doing it now, actually, aren't we, as well? Yeah.
Running the clock then.
I'm going to wrap it up now. I'm going to, yeah.
There must be something. Twitter's actually quite boring. There's nothing on Twitter at all.
You're heading for a booking, Jonathan, if you keep holding the play up so much as this.
Yeah.
That's enough. I'm winding. I couldn't find anything, actually. But there's a little chat between them anyway. Fascinating stuff. Brilliant.
You've got 20 seconds.
Round of applause. Really fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Very interesting.
Very interesting.
What pub did you go to before the game, then? Let's ask a few questions. We've got 15 seconds. What pub did you go to before the match?
Oh, you know, I was just sort of walking around, taking it all in. Afterwards, I went to the Supporters Trust meeting, which was fantastic.
We're going to talk about the second half. Okay. Part 6, we're going to give it an extra 30 seconds. So what pub were you at? You just walked
the Fimbra.
Oh, yeah, the Fimbra,
Did you try some of the
We're going to talk about Chadder's
stats
in part 6 and a few announcements. So we'll see you in a minute.